Hey, I want to tell you guys, here I am in my studio. I'm Susan Lenart here. I don't, many people who have followed me for years know this about me, but where I got my beginning, I went to art school. I grew up in the south side of Chicago. Really, it was such an education. This was back in the day before the internet. I remember going down on Rush Street and there would be literally men with high heels and fur coats and feathers, and I was like, oh, those are the pimps, so it was really interesting, the life that I saw when I was younger. I had freedom to hop on trains and go downtown. And even though I grew up I didn't grow up poor, but I grew up on the south side of Chicago. So it's been a really, really interesting interpretation of the world. So for me, I went to the Art Institute of Chicago, Southern Illinois University, and I studied subject psychology, and I ended up graduating as an artist. And I had my diploma in hand, and I was like, okay, now what do I do? And I was thinking, okay, I have to get some experience in life, really get some experience in life, because when you have experience in life, you can build bodies of work that are about you. Your work always stems from yourself, always. When you try to copy someone else's work and use that as a reference point, the work is not very good. So your work always has to come from yourself. So I was like, okay, now what do I do? So I started traveling. I remember I loved anthropology. I did not get a degree in anthropology, but I went into a Pier 1 for the first time. And I was like, oh my gosh, whatever this is, art, culture, travel, this is what I want in my life. So I started traveling. Oh my gosh, it was incredible. I started traveling. I spent a lot of time in Southeast Asia, in Central America, in South America, East Africa, Morocco, Indonesia. I just traveled so many places, and I was a buyer. I traveled with a buyer, and I would bring these gorgeous artifacts back and sell them to the Chicago galleries there. And I realized that all of this work was so magical. I've had such beautiful talisman pieces in my hands. What is a talisman? A talisman is an object. Like this actually is a talisman. This has a prayer in there. It has words in there. When I built this piece, I was really embedding the words freedom in there because I was really looking for freedom in my life. So a talisman is about a box or an amulet or anything where every time you look at it, you think of that word again. So this piece, just wearing it, is representational of freedom to me. And it's the repetition of seeing it over and over again that really embeds this talisman, the word freedom, into me deeper and deeper. And we all know, now we all know what we read, what we feel, who we are is really, really is what happens in our outer world. It's our subconscious that holds the truth and the direction of where you're going, So really we need to make sure that our inner self, and people knew long ago with Talisman that our inner self has to hold the vision of the future, like freedom, the word freedom, for us to be able to move into a space of freedom. So that's really essentially what Talisman are all about. And I started in my early 20s traveling around the world, and there were talisman from all over, like talisman that protected a village and kept people out, talisman that would be, you'd wear them for prosperity, you'd wear them to have children. The evil eye in Greece is just all about keeping bad spirits away, the evil eye. So no one's looking at you, no one's casting a spell. So it's so interesting with all of this talisman type of work and what it has grown into for me after 40 years of 35 years of researching talisman from all over.